It's done. There's nothing they can do. No matter how corrupt the system is, no matter what, these people are still duty-bound and honor-bound. When you say certain shibboleth words, certain key words, they know there's nothing. They all know all their society members are watching.
Right. I'm just going to push you on this one because I've struggled with some of this myself. We're saying we've got people that when the courts are running properly, the system they're using is by nature deceitful in that we don't understand what it's about.
So why aren't you in Queen's Bench?
Right. But we can also say that the people running that deceitful system have a code of honour amongst themselves.
Of course.
And would I then be right in saying that if they were to start making their own, if a judge was to start making their own decision, which is counter to their own code of conduct, their system would start to break down?
No. The big thing is that you folks, you have to understand that the man in the black robe does not create the orders. The claimant creates the order. So when you make a claim, when you are going into their administrative court, or if I went into your court, I'd be coming into your case. You define me, and you tell me what rules I have to abide by. Now, if I don't want to abide by those rules, or I say that's unfair and unjust, I'm going to move my claim. So poor Bali, when his family was doing this for a year and a half, 2 years before they met me, they were not allowed to present evidence, facts, nothing, They thought they had a lovely case, and they were saying, oh, the judges are corrupt and evil, I said, Bali, you have to move your case. If they have their case, you have no rights. You think they're going to let you win in their case? No, they're going to make it inherent that there's no way in the world that you could possibly win in their case. You have to move your own case. So when you move a case in Queen's Bench, they can't follow. Unfortunately, here in a common law land, Queen's Bench rules supreme. So they have to basically leave their case at the door and come after you in Queen's Bench as man on man. Not public servant against man, man on man. Not person on person, because a person is a man who has a duty and obligation to a society. And he's saying, I'm not a person, I am a man. I have the right to access Queen's Bench. You have to pursue me now, chase me, prosecute me now into the Queen's Bench. And once we get there, you have to utter your proof, your claim in open court. You have to press the record. And they know they can't do that.
Right.
And that's what the magistrate said. It's done. It's that simple. It's a trump card. You guys are done. And the common law land is so simple, it's scary.
Okay, let me ask you another question then. When you go into the Queen's Bench, you're only producing or presenting your case in front of judges?
No, juries. You go under Blackstone's Commentary, Volume 3, Section 378. The jury has, at their own peril and hazard, the right to interpret the law as well as the facts. That's Section 378, Blackstone's Commentary, Volume 3.
Okay, so are you automatically getting a jury when you go into the Queen's Bench?
Because I could get things done in front of me, like I did with Bally the other day. We did not record. We came in as defendants in an administrative court, and certain shibboleth words I still shot out at the judge, and the judge realized this is a man. He's evoking the common law. I have to respect this man. This is the supreme law of this land, not the silly code stuff. A man is now present, and I have to respect the fact that the man is present, and this man will prevail.
Right.
Flip the court, just like that.
Right.
It's a way to flip it, really easy. And he could have flipped it back by saying certain things wrong. Thank goodness I was behind him like a ventriloquist. Say, don't say this, don't say that.
Yeah.
Or he would have lost. Like as soon as the judge said, do you want me to call the witness? Yeah, he was going to say yes. No. I require of you to call the witness.
Yeah.
So there's a difference because I require of you, use a plural. I don't know if anybody really realized that.
This is an absolutely key point, that because we have also, and we've had calls from people who've tried to take a little bit of knowledge into the courts, and one gentleman, we won't mention his name, but he tried to take on the police over an incident, and you could see that what was actually happening was a very simple offence in the beginning was becoming deeper and deeper and more of a problem for him, because he was trying to use knowledge that wasn't totally correct.
Because the big problem I can see right now, what you said, is there's no such thing as the police, the state, the government, the army. It's Bob, Susie, or Joe, who happens to be clothed under the color of law at that time, who acts as a officer of the government. You have to go after the man in Queen's Bench. You can't go after the police in Queen's Bench. You have to say, like Barry Rose, caused a trespass on land. And it was so funny, the judge kept saying, he tried to stop saying common law. He kept saying the officer was uninvited. He kept saying, Barry trespassed on land. And he's like, I mean, the officer was uninvited, so that even Judge Martin, really good man, Judge Greg and Judge Martin, beautiful guys. And I guarantee Bali and their family hated these two guys for the last year and a half. But once the judge realized, the magistrate realizes, we have the Queen present, we have a man present, we have our Creator present, we must respect them. They will. If you want to act like a person, then they get to control you.
Right.
But if you're above them, they realize you are above them. You're a man.
Right. My brain is right. So there's There's a couple of very good questions come up here. Sorry, let me just get focused on this. So this is in relation to a case where a newborn baby was taken away, and it says the judge in Paul's case. We don't need to know more about. The judge in Paul's case refused to answer the question: is the son property or? So when that question was asked in the case, the judge simply didn't want to answer.
He doesn't have to. It's not his case. It's CPS's case against the parents. The parents have to make a case against the CPS and file it through Queen's Bench. Once they file it through there, they have 21 days to answer the question, whose property is this? Will you not restore property? If you will not restore property, we are going to take this before Queen's Bench, and the Queen or the jury will decide whose property this is. They don't have to talk to you in their case. It's their case. Just like if it's my suitcase, and I want to pack my suit and my accoutrements or my exhibits in a certain way in my case, how dare you try to put your socks or your shoes in my case? This is my case. I'm going to present my case now. If you don't know to make your own case up before we go before the trial or before we go before the judge, that's your problem. Because you don't know the rules of court, that's your problem. Don't try to put your stuff in my case, and don't tell me, explain why you put silver thread in that suit in your case. Tell me why. Explain. I don't have to explain nothing. This is my case. And I'm not telling you the simple thing. Make your own damn case, and then we'll worry about it.
Right. So here's a question for you. Why would the judiciary want to run a parallel system where we're saying that it's inherently deceptive? We think we understand what happens when we go into court. You are saying overwhelmingly that we don't understand it. Why would these people want to deceive us over a matter of justice?
One, believe it or not, it'll bring you closer to understanding who and what you are as a man. The more, toil you go through, the better clarity you have of just what your purpose is and what you do. Like I said, when I first was going through this, my whole family went down to Alabama. We went to the United States District Court down there, and we talked to Department of Justice, criminal prosecutor, Sandy Callahan Jr., big man, Lieutenant Colonel. And I thought he was embarrassing me in front of my whole family, because we were trying this. Me and my wife had gotten 17 attorneys throughout the years. I had 9, she had 8. We were trying everything in the world to get a copy of the contract. We could never get it. So Sandy Callahan finally said to me, he looked at me, he said, when you learn how to be a man, you won't need any government assistance. You won't need my help. You won't need anybody's help. You'll know exactly what to do. And I thought he was insulting me. It's like, wait a second, I'm the oldest son. I take care of my folks' farm. What are you talking about? I got all these brothers and sisters. I'm like the man of the family. He says, you're not a man. I says, what? He says, you don't know the rules of court. You don't know how to act as a man in the public. Maybe you know how to take care of your family, but you don't know how to act like within this society. You don't know what it means to be a man. So I was furious at him for years. And then I finally became aware about 2.5 years ago, when I finally realized, I looked in all the law dictionaries I could find. I purposely moved next to a law university in Virginia. There is no definition of the word man in their legal dictionaries. The best definition I could find of the word man, it said an adult male. An adult male what? I said to myself, a snake, an adult male aardvark, a cricket, an adult male what? So I realized, this legal society can't define its creator. Just like I can't define your creator, you can't define mine. They can't define man. So when I confronted a lot of attorneys and law professors, I said, do you realize out of all these books, there's no mention of the word man? And
I think you looked
even
at
realize it. 16
law dictionaries, was it, that you studied at one time?
Oh, how many? It's an unbelievable amount. I have a whole list of the ones I've done throughout the years. But what I've realized is I had mountains of books, and when I finally realized what it was to be a man, I realized all these books I have with all these little sticky notes sticking out of the side of it were all worthless. So I boxed I had 2 stacks about 8 feet high, and I just boxed them all off. I said, I never need one of these books ever again. I know how to be a man. I know how to act as a man in common law. I got this. All this stuff is for their society because they're just representing something. I'm presenting the man the creator to the court. And this is I don't have to use any of their citations. I never use any of their codes. I never use any of their precedent. I never use any of their constitutions. Because if you try to use, like, say, I was telling you earlier about the Second Amendment, are you going to have Thomas Jefferson or James Madison come in open court and say, this is what the Second Amendment means? No, it's what they believed at that point in time. That's what their belief system was. My belief, now, this is my day in the sun. I'm going to tell you what I believe is in best interest of me, not what they believed back in 1776.
Right.